Welcome to a new video for WinBidPro version 16 from GDS Estimating. And it's now the middle of March 2026, and we've released an update that has some new tools for the cut list. And these are helpful when you're looking for certain parts for an elevation, and maybe you have to adjust the length, or you want to add some parts to your cut list that are not included in the framing system, whatever it might be. Or you can even add parts that you want to create a cut list without any drawings. You just want to create a cut list and optimize it. So all this is like kind of new, improved stuff in the cut list. So let's get to it. We're going to go to Reports. We're going to go to Cut List. And then just right off the bat, you're going to see a list of all the cuts for this job, right? So we've got, what, 5 elevations in this job, and there's 991 cuts. But to make this a little more workable, if I'm looking for certain parts, if I'm looking for, cut lengths of a certain type and that kind of thing, it's better to group the list. So we can actually filter by going to a filter if we want to look at a certain part number, or if I want to look at a certain length of part, I can use a filter to do that, or a certain assembly type, or even the label, the specific location label of that part. We can filter with all that, or like I mentioned, we can group. So if I want to group something for a job and make it a little easier to find stuff, I'm going to say I want the main group to be elevation, maybe I want the second grouping to be assembly type, and maybe I want the third grouping to be part number. So that's going to give us all that kind of grouping, 3 different grouping levels for the cut list, but right now they're all kind of collapsed. So I'm going to actually go over here to the far right, go up to grouping options, and I can hit expand, and that quickly expands kind of every group. Now again, this is for every elevation, so if I collapse A1, then I'm going to see the next elevation, and so on. It's actually alphabetizing them in the cut list, I guess, which is a little different than they are here. But if I actually want to only see an active elevation that I'm looking at, like let's say I'm looking at this elevation, and in the cut list I quickly only want to see the cuts for that elevation, I'm going to hit active elevation. So that'll turn green, showing me that that kind of filter is active, and that was an easy way to do it, so that I didn't have to go into the elevation column and filter that. But you do see that it turned that filter blue, which if I clicked on that, we would show, okay, the active elevation is C7. And I could even clear that filter here, and it would probably clear it, my little green button. But the green button is just a quick way to do it, so that's why it's there. And so we've got the different assembly types. We've got the head, the horizontal, so this is all for this one elevation. And then we've got the different parts, and under each part number, the different cut sizes show up. So now if I want to narrow this down and I want to kind of verify things for the drawing, we have another little button up here that says split this pane. And when I click that, it's going to give me the active elevation that I had selected in the list here and show me the drawing over here. And then when I go over to a part here, I can click on it, and we'll notice that that part was highlighted yellow. Now, any part I click on, it's going to jump over to a different horizontal. So when you have a bigger screen, this is why we like people to have big screens. When you have a big screen, you can see more of the drawing, you can see multiple things. When I have side-by-side tabs like this, it helps. So the bigger the monitor, the better. But yeah, if I wanted to go down and look at a sill, it's the same thing. I can click on it, I can zoom out, and it's this piece right here. So if there was some situation where you needed to adjust the length of that piece, you could go in and edit the cut size of that particular piece, and it's going to change the optimization, it's going to change the actual cut size and all that. So this is something you can do. You could always do that in the cut list, but it kind of makes it easier when you're actually looking at where that part is and you're verifying if there's some weird condition for it. You can actually adjust that part. So the other thing that's important to know about this cut list is you can easily add cut pieces. So if I were to let's say I want to collapse this. Well, I'll even collapse it so I don't even need to do that. I can hit Control click. Let's say I want this part and this part. I want to add those two parts. Oh, I hit Shift. So you want to hit Control click to hit two separate parts. So this part and this part, I want to add a new cut size, like a manual addition to my cut list. I can click the Add button, and right away it's adding those two part numbers here to the selected parts, and it knows what elevation I'm in. All I really need to do is type in a cut length and a quantity. So if I needed one of each of those, or if I needed two of each of those, I could easily do that here, and I can just hit the Enter key, or I can click Add. But if I hit the Enter key, it's the same thing. I've added those to this list of manually added parts, and it's saying stage because we can keep going. I can go up here and type in a part number, and just it'll kind of narrow down the search as I keep typing, and I can pick the part number, or I can even go here and browse the entire list, and I can select a part and I can add it, and now that's one that I'm adding to the actual list. So if I want to add all three of those in one shot, I can easily do that just by typing in a amount and hit Enter, and now I've added all three of those parts. Now obviously if I just want to add one part, I can delete the ones I don't want, and then I can hit a different length. If it's 12 inches, I can hit Add, or I can hit Enter, and I'm building this list of manually added parts, and then I would hit Save All, and now it's showing me custom parts that were added. So these are all the different custom parts that I've added, just messing around. So that's a neat feature. So the other option is you don't even need a drawing. You can actually create a job. You do have to go through the process of picking a framing system because it won't let you pick or create a job without it, but just pick any old framing system, but then go straight to the cut list and start adding parts by clicking the plus sign. And as I say, once you have the part number in there, you can just type in the length and the quantity, hit Enter, and then just keep going. If you need more lengths for that same part number, keep going, or you go up and enter a different part number and then keep going with that one. So it's pretty fast to create your own cut list or to just add parts to this cut list. So those are the tools that are super convenient and I think efficient and helpful and all that for users of WinBidPro. So if I wanted to kind of get out of all this, I could kind of unsplit the screen. I could say, okay, I don't want to see the active elevation anymore, or just that elevation, I want to see them all. I can go to collapse all the part numbers or all the elevations. Now I've got all of them, so I can just expand certain elevations if I want. Look at the verticals for that one, and here's the part number for the verticals. So all that power is kind of built into this grid where you can do grouping, you can do filtering, and then you've got your add. I can even delete parts. If there's a part that I know that I don't want for some reason, like I've already, I don't know, got it, or for some reason it's duplicated and I don't want it, I can highlight that and hit delete, and you'll show that it lines it out. So now it's going to exclude that from both the optimization and the parts list. So it's not going to, well, yeah, it's not going to optimize it, so it won't include that in the optimization, which means it might affect, the number of stock lengths. But that's something that's always been there. And then if I decide, oh, I made a mistake, I don't want to delete that part, I can go revert it with this tool right here, and then it just brings it right back. So any parts that we've added are going to be in bold, but anything that we delete would have a line through it. Anything we restore is just a normal part again. So that's kind of how all that works. And you'll notice that it says filters apply to exports and reports. So anything that you've filtered, like if you only want to see this elevation's labels or something, if you print the labels. So we can go to print here, and I'm going to have a separate video on some improvements we've made to labels for the cut list. So any of these reports would actually reflect whatever filter is showing here. So if you only want a certain part to show on a report, or a certain elevation, or a certain assembly, all that is affected when you get the filter set in these reports. So keep that in mind too. So yeah, that's pretty much the new helpful tools in the Cutlist. And as I say, the next video will be showing you the changes we made to the labels that you can print for cuts. And thanks for watching.